chance for the Chargers, and they score! Hello, everybody, and welcome to Business Over Breakfast.
What a way to start.
For everybody who is just joining us, which is everyone, because we literally just started, my name is Ben Barber. Welcome to the show. I just completely made everyone as sad as possible directly before, like 1 second before the camera started rolling. We have the incredible, I almost said the incredible edible egg. We have
best offer I've had in a long time.
We have Larry Hirsch with us today. And we also have Johnny Chin with us today. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
And of course, the incomparable Lisa Kanicki is with us as well. Lisa, I'm wearing a polo today. You know why?
No.
It's board meeting day.
Oh, you're getting dressed up for the board. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Don't feel the need to do that.
Otherwise, I'd be wearing a t-shirt with holes in it.
Our board is made up of people from all different industries. We have contractors. You know, people come in t-shirts, and it's come as you are.
But you look
participate.
more professional that way.
I do look more
and
professional,
that's the most
Larry.
Important thing. No, don't listen to Lisa. You're the man.
I try not to listen.
Well, they
to
say
Lisa
dress
as
for the
often as
job you
possible.
want, not the job you have, right?
I already have the job I want.
Well, there you go.
But the sad part of it is that I said I have to leave after this and go to Larry Hirsch Drive. It's Drive, right?
Yes.
To Larry Hirsch Drive. Those of you who watched yesterday morning's show know that my cat passed away, and so I got to go to the Westerly Animal Shelter for that. So
It's
thank
ironic.
you for all your help with
It's
that.
ironic that yesterday my cat passed away.
Really?
One of my four cats.
Really?
Yeah,
Jeez.
and I didn't bring it to
Johnny, you don't have a
clinic,
cat, do you?
but I brought it
No
over
cats.
to another vet, and it's now become cremation time. And
Yes.
it's not just cremation; it's like a human being cremation.
Oh,
You got to
geez.
go to an agency. What size urn do you like? How would you like a paw print with the urn? I mean, and we start at $300 and we go up to $1,000. We'll
Of course
sing
they
and
do.
dance.
Pets are
So-
big business.
I mean, I love my pets, but I just want to, when I go,
Uh-oh.
I've got a beautiful place in Riverbend with
Okay.
a tree and a nice stone. I'm taking them all with me. My dogs and cats. I've got about 40 of them. I don't know if
What are
there's
you
room for
saying?
me.
We're putting them in
Yeah,
with you?
I don't even think there's room for me
Oh my
in there
God.
with them.
Wow.
Amazing.
You've laid these instructions out with somebody.
Well,
right?
yeah,
You're not expecting Johnny and I to remember this.
Well,
and
I
to take
just-
care of this.
I just always thought about a cat house, and this is going to be my closest to it.
Oh my gosh. Well, your front yard, if I recall,
Yes,
doesn't it have like a jungle gym for
Yes,
cats all
yes,
over the
yes.
place?
it does.
Yeah, I remember.
You
I've
were
been
down
there.
there. You saw it.
Oh yeah, Peep Toad Road.
I have
Wow.
condos for it.
Yes.
I have indoor heating and air conditioning and
Yeah.
plumbing, and the town of Westerly wants to raise my assessment $300,000. And I said, how can you raise it? There's nobody lives there. It's a cat house.
Oh my God.
That's another story. I'm appealing that decision, but
The
Go
be it as it may.
do that, Larry. Do that.
We're going to get him. We're going to get this town. With all the money coming in from down the beach area, we shouldn't even be paying taxes.
Okay,
Well,
let's not go there.
Larry.
The chamber
No,
does
I'm
not get
happy.
involved into these
Larry,
items.
I'm happy that
Larry, no
they
political.
okay. It's not
Yeah,
political.
yeah,
It's thank you
you're
very
s-
much for
You're
living. in
putting
our-
your toes on
my-
the
okay.
line
Oh
here.
my God!
You know, Larry,
We
you were
don't do
talking
that.
about. Listen, Larry. We talked about unfortunately our cats passing away.
yes.
Which I'm sorry to hear, by the way. And we also talked about your plans for being buried with all of your 1,000 pets. How you memorialize someone that's special to you in your life is very important, and that's what we're here to talk about today. I pulled it all back in.
Wow.
There you
I
go.
pulled
What a
it all back
segue.
in.
Exactly.
Wonderful.
You have been on a couple shows with you were on Sports Open Mic
Yes.
with Ken, and then you came on the morning show at some point.
Reminiscing.
And yes, and you actually hold on. before we get into the Tarzan Brown of it all, which is going to be the majority of the rest of this show,
Absolutely.
Lisa, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the goodies
The breakfast part
directly in
business
front of
over
us.
breakfast.
What's going on over here?
So I stopped at Old Man Joe's this morning, a great little almost boutique type coffee house, and they make wonderful pizzas and great stuff. So we've got an everything bagel with cream cheese. We have a strawberry rhubarb, and then we have something covered with a lot of sugar. I don't even know what it was. I was like, give me one of those. So they do fresh sandwiches made to order in the mornings, and it's a great little place. They have a nice vibe in there. A lot more parking than you think up and around the back, and just super kind folks that work here. So check it out. Definitely try their pizzas, but didn't want to leave them out of our breakfast because it's a very popular place for coffee in the morning. And
Yeah.
even though I don't do coffee, most normal people do.
I don't think I would want to see you on coffee, honestly.
Yeah, I know.
So
Nobody would.
No.
To be
You know,
honest.
Larry, looking at this food, I think we need to eat this food before we go on our next run, because this is a tremendous carbohydrate deluge
Carb
of
load.
Yeah.
carbo load.
Carbo load.
It's
Look at the
unbelievable. The
portions.
spread
And
is
the
It's
sugar,
crazy.
sugar. But
Oh, yeah.
that building is a gorgeous building.
Yeah, they
Where
did a great job.
They did a beautiful was it the
Redeveloping it.
Washington Trust that did that. It's a beautiful edifice. That's where it's housed there.
Yeah, there was
But
there was a
parking-
group that led that, and I can't recall who they were actually. At the parking isn't bad.
But it's
Most
too
people
bad
are
that they-
in and out in under 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You go in, you get your coffee, and you leave. So it's a constant turnover. And they've got the few spaces on the side. They have some in the back, and you can park on the street.
You
And
got a fence there now. You got the
well,
Berlin
you're talking
Wall.
about across the
Yes,
way.
They,
Yeah.
They put a big fence across where the shopping center
Okay.
is there.
We're gonna keep it
Let-
positive.
hey, Tarzan Brown. So, also, you mentioned I've been carbo loading for a marathon for years, and I think I'm ready.
You're ready.
I
He's
think I'm
there.
ready.
There you go. There you go. Let's go.
Let's talk about the Tarzan Brown Memorial Fund and what the goal is here.
The goal is approximately 60,000. It's a moving target
Okay,
because of
appropriately
things.
so.
We're not going to talk about why, but the prices increase. But right now, we're at about $40,000, and we need $60,000. We have the statue, life size, has been done by Serena Bates, who is
She's a masterful
master
yeah.
master sculptor.
Yeah, she's great.
In fact, she was featured at the Ocean House. She was resident artist at the Ocean House, and she did our friend Chuck Royce a beautiful bust of him. But anyways, she's already done it in clay. If you haven't seen
I
it,
saw it on Facebook. It's cool.
it is
Mhm.
absolutely amazing how she could create this thing in clay, and now it's getting ready to go to the foundry. The only fly, if I can say, in the ointment is that originally we had talked about, when I was here last time, we talked about maybe it going at the Tamaqua Museum, which was supposed to be placed at URI. They had a $2 million grant for it.
That's you.
And
Oopsie.
how do you get rid of it?
Hit the end button.
There you go.
And excuse me.
Live action here.
And it was thought it would be a good spot for it at this new Indigenous People Museum on the URI campus. Unfortunately, with frozen funds, it's nowhere in the near future they're going to have the ability to put it in.
Right.
So we thought, being he's a Westerly fellow, he was a Westerly runner, he was born in Westerly, he achieved his success in Westerly with his manager, Thomas Tippy Salamino, the elder. The younger is 99 and a half,
Wow.
but the elder. And so we thought, and we, not talking out of turn, talked to Sean Lacey, and I think the town would be amenable to put it at the railroad station.
Nice.
There's a little art museum there. There's also a South County bronze statue there.
Mhm.
So we thought that would be a good place to put it. And then
You mean that Rooney Park to the left of the train station?
Yes. and the town was willing to go along with that and maybe put the foundation in and get it going. Then we started to think Byron Brown, who's the leader, he's the chief of the Wickapaug Eastern Pequot Indian tribe, a sub-tribe of the Narragansetts, which was what Tarzan was, a Narragansett Indian. So he thought, being there's a memorial in the park, which is gorgeous,
Mhm.
putting it in the park. So now it shifts a little bit to maybe going into the park and where it would go in the park.
So is the park committee reviewing that right now
Yes,
as a possibility?
It turned it over to Brigitte
Yep.
and to Alan,
Alan.
who's also a runner, a good runner, and they're thinking that. Then we thought right across the street, there once was a statue of Christopher Columbus, who's been now relocated over the other side
In the park.
in the park.
Well protected.
Well protected,
Everything
but
but barbed wire.
unfortunately his rear end is facing the street, which is kind of derogatory.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, I just thought you'd like to know that that was an issue.
Okay.
So anyways, right across the street, there's a piece of property. So I went to Brigitte and she said to me, the library doesn't own it. Okay.
Are you talking about the Dixon Square?
Right there.
That little tiny
That
little
little
sliver
spot
of
there
land.
where,
Where the fountain is.
yeah.
You want the
No, not in Dennis. I'm not going to get involved with that either. We're not going to
No,
talk about
no.
Dennis's fountain,
No.
No.
which needs it, which
Right
we
over
said
there.
Which
needs a
needs a-
prostate
needs a-
examination.
yes.
Kind of
The
like
fountain needs a
between the
prostate
post
check.
office
Yes, yes.
and the library.
Right.
There's
Perfect spot.
great visibility.
Great visibility. So the library allegedly doesn't own it. So the town, Sean says, we researched, we don't own it.
The chamber owns it. There we go.
So we
I
just,
give you
just-
permission.
Just
I
put
was
it
just
there.
gonna say,
Who's ever going
we
to
have-
say?
We have
I
a
own
board
it.
member
Yeah.
right here.
Yeah,
Okay.
I vote yes.
Thank you. So that's an ideal spot. And we don't want to get the post office involved because they really don't know what they own. That parking lot next to the post
Ask
office.
forgiveness,
Yes.
not permission.
Yes.
Right?
That's
I mean,
right.
Once you put the cement in, it's kind of there.
Yeah, I mean, and
Who's
if somebody,
maintaining that spot right now? Landscaping, and someone's doing that. Once you do it over so many years,
Yes,
you're the
and
owner.
they're
that's
adverse
actually-
possession.
That's
So
actually
bend
me.
in it.
Who's-
Bend
yeah.
in it.
Who's been doing it?
Yeah.
I
so-
just go down there and I weed whack on weekends and
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
so we have permission
between
from the
carbo loading.
chamber, and that's the spot to go. So that's exactly
it.
where we are, and
Mm-hmm.
the foundry's going to have it, and they have to decapitate him first to be able to put him together
What?
in bronze.
Sure.
So he'll be in bronze forever.
The statue.
And that's
Should be
where,
clear.
and raising funds is not easy. Lisa's been extremely helpful with resources to raise funds to get it over the top. Initially, it was pretty. When I saw you before, it was easy at the beginning, and now it's a little more difficult
Yeah.
because the
it was
gifts
only a
are
couple months
$10.
ago, to be fair.
It was. It seems like forever.
Yeah.
It was only a couple months ago.
You've gotten some good momentum.
Yeah, we got good momentum, and we've got some major gifts from the banks, and thanks to Chuck Royce, we've got a nice donation from Chuck, and things
Very
are going.
kind.
Good.
And Lisa's going to promote us again, and we're going to get over the top, and we're going to put her statue right next.
Please
There you
do
go.
not.
But she won't stand still long enough to make a statue of her.
Well,
Oh boy. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think
Maybe a dunking tank is more appropriate.
no.
for me.
We'll just need the fence for the whoever did the Columbus stuff. We'll just put that
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, so it's pretty hard to turn down a Native American Westerly
Icon.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah, who, if you put Christopher Columbus, who never really hit the Northern Hemisphere. I mean, so
Oh.
I like him there, and being a Dante Society member, I'm all in favor of Christopher Columbus, but I don't think he would object to having Tarzan over here. So I think Lisa made the statement. I'm going to go along with that. We're going to, by adverse possession, we're going to put him there whether they like it or they don't like it.
Exactly.
Well, listen, you already have. I mean, as a backup to a backup to a backup, you have the train station, right?
Yes. Yes.
That's a good.
Yeah,
That's a good
This
spot.
has developed
It
into
is a
some
good
great
spot.
options.
Yeah, this is like
Nothing negative except that it's sadly that wonderful idea of an indigenous people museum being stymied like it is and not getting traction because
yes,
it's really sad.
absolutely, and I know that will happen one day
Yes.
when the funds are released and when everything's good to go. That will happen one day, and you're not going to have an Indigenous Peoples Museum in Rhode Island without having a litany of representation of Tarzan Brown, whether the statue is there or
That's
not.
right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
So
That's
So in that case, maybe it's sort of serendipitous that fell through, and we now in Westerly, which is where he was from, get the statue.
right.
So I mean, you can look at it as a positive.
Totally.
Of like, would that have been an amazing option? Absolutely. The fact that has sort of been taken off the table, and now we're looking at, could it be the train station? Could it be the park? Could it be right downtown, right in Dixon Square at the exactly where it is? So everybody for Sunday Fun Days, everybody for the holiday stroll, etc., can stop by and see Tarzan and learn a little bit about that. All of those things are really, in some ways, not better, but like enhanced for the local community.
everything happens for a reason.
So yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And at one time the library had an exhibit. I'm going way back, of Tarzan Brown's trophies.
Oh, neat.
Wow.
I saw the picture. They had a whole exhibit of his trophies.
Where did those end up?
We know they came in. Nobody knows what happened to them, where they went.
Well, we're gonna go get those. What is it? The bibs you said, the shorts.
Yes,
yes. We're going on a road trip, you and me.
There's a guy in Boston, J.P. Pierre. He somehow befriended Tarzan. Oh, you know about him. Tarzan's
Only
widow.
because you've been on the show. Yeah.
And Tarzan, he has shorts and running shoes and singlets, not only of Tarzan, but of a lot of the running community, Johnny Kelly the Elder.
Oh, wow.
But he doesn't want to let him go. And he doesn't even want to, we wanted him to lend it to the Tomahawk Museum or donate it and get a charitable deduction, but he won't do it. So Lisa suggested, he's a character, that we go to Boston to his warehouse. He'll show us all the things. Then we can kidnap him or do what we
Larry,
Okay.
Can I just say that you calling someone else a character is like makes me wonder what that guy's like.
Uh-huh.
There you go.
So
That's a thought, though.
Yeah.
To be able to get him to agree to bring some. Oh, and I'll stop. But you raised the thing about the museum will someday be there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm 86 years old. I'm not going to wait till the museum gets done. In fact, my birthday is next week.
Oh,
Hey.
Happy birthday.
I'm a fiscal year guy, July 1. We were thinking, seriously, and I don't mind doing my part of raising more funds. There's a beautiful picture of Tarzan with his full head regalia running, making that bust by Serena Bates and putting that bust in the museum.
Oh, that would be, yeah.
So she could do it. It wouldn't be
like a follow-up piece.
as a follow-up piece to keep
Yeah.
it going and to honor
Yeah.
a sort of a commitment. There it is. That's
Yeah.
Runner's Magazine, by the way.
Well,
John.
let's get one project finished
Yes,
before you
yes.
start focusing on the next
Yes,
one.
Yes. And we surely don't want a statue coming down here. We don't know what to do with them.
Yeah,
Put them
no.
at the chamber.
Well, that's town property. Okay.
Okay.
And if the town wanted it at One Chamber Way, I'm sure
It wouldn't
that
be
our board would agree to that. But I don't think that's the best location.
No.
People drive by 70 miles an hour.
No.
You can't appreciate it.
No.
You want it in the heart of your village
Right,
where
right.
people are walking and can read whatever the placard's going to say and learn about it.
Here's my take. Again, Tarzan in his heydays ran a lot of his races here in Westerly, running up Granite Street, Franklin Street Avenue. He did many loops around this town, and he should be here. And I think the statue near the post office would be a tremendous bookend to the monument that's commemorating the tree on the other part of the park. And I think that would give us a nice little history, nice little circle of people to come by, and be educated about his upbringing,
Contributions.
to the town. And obviously, yeah, he wasn't the perfect saint of a guy. I mean, he had a rough upbringing, as well as when he was a tremendous marathon. I think for the 2 years from 36 to 38, he was the best marathon in the United States.
Yeah.
But again, he had a rough ending towards his life, but something to be commemorated about. And obviously, we have Christopher Columbus up here, which I think, again, he's not portrayed as being a kind of a good guy, but in reality, he wasn't really a good guy. And I think that's a nice little balance between the indigenous Indian here and Christopher Columbus. Is kind of like, okay, what's going on here? But a nice little, that's just my spin from a guy from
There you go.
California.
No,
That's
it's
all
a
it
good
is.
one. That's a good one because the monument in the park is gorgeous. His grandson did the stonework. It had a wonderful ceremony when they honored him. Even the Boston Athletic Association was down there with their top guns at that ceremony. Were you there?
No.
It was amazing. It brought back a culture, maybe it never left the culture, of the Narragansett tribe that I never knew. The music and the dancing and the regalia, and Byron Brown, gorgeous example of a Narragansett
Mm-hmm.
native. So it would be, it's sort of the circle. The park is so beautiful, the walkways and everything. To have at one end, to have Tarzan Brown, and in the middle to have his monument. That's a great idea.
How can people get involved? How can people donate?
Well, it's right on my shirt, but it's the Tarzan Brown Memorial Fund. It's
.org.
.org. You can go to that fund and make a donation, any size, and when it's all said and done, we want to honor everybody, not just the top donors. We want to have a bronze plaque to honor everybody that made a contribution to this thing. So that's what we're shooting for. Getting into. We also have a PayPal site, and we also have a what's the other?
Venmo.
No.
Zelle?
The way you donate, you can donate through PayPal. Yeah, we have a PayPal availability, but it's if you go to this site, you can make the donation there. And
If everyone in Westerly right now donated $1, this would
over
be
the top.
this
Yep.
would be this
Yeah.
would be done.
that's right.
So that's, if everybody in Westerly donated $1, we would be there right now. Let's talk a little bit, because I think that one of the things that we've glossed over in this a little bit is we've gotten a little ahead of the audience as far as the what this is, right? And the how and all of that stuff. But let's go back to the why a
Mhm.
little bit more. Let's talk about Tarzan Brown. Let's talk about the Boston Marathon, winning the Boston Marathon. Let's talk about how he, very likely could have won at the Olympics in 1940 when they were canceled. Like, what, tell us a little bit about the history of Tarzan
Sure.
Brown.
Well, the history starts. I think a wonderful person to be able to come down here and talk about the beginning would be Dr. Thomas Tippy Salamino, professor, colonel, etc. Because his father, who I knew well, he was my manager,
Mm-hmm.
the elder Tippy Salamino, and he was like Customato was for, I can't think of the guy's name, the heavyweight champion. When Customato wasn't there, he went downhill. So Tippy was training another Native American chief who was a top runner in Westerly, and behind him was this little kid running and keeping pace with this famous runner. And he came up to Tippy, said, "When you get to be 18, I want to see you because you got a lot of potential." And he took him on. He was the top marathoner in America. He actually, in his prime, was the top marathoner in the world.
Wow.
So he trained in 1936. He won the Boston Marathon. In 1939, he won the Boston Marathon, all in record times. And I have to tell you, both John and I know as runners that the equipment that they had in those days was horrible. I mean, the shoes weren't good, everything was good, but he still ran in the 2:20s in his marathon. So he won those. He was going to the 36 Berlin Olympics. Very sad event, but he was going to the 36 Berlin, and they wouldn't let his manager go along with him. Avery Brundage wouldn't let the manager go along with him. Therefore, Tarzan on a ship for I don't know how many days, 10, 12 days crossing, was not training, was not in the top shape that he should have been in, and he didn't win the 36 Olympics. But he was primed to be at the 1940 Olympics, which never took place because of the war. So, yeah, as John said, he has records. He ran one marathon, I think, in Yonkers, New York, and got into a car and ran another marathon the next day and won them both.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
The interesting thing also, Ben, is that through Tippy, we had a scrapbook. Tippy's father had a whole scrapbook on Tarzan Brown. That scrapbook is now at the Smithsonian Institute, the Division of Indigenous People. You can go online and see all the newspaper articles, all the runs he did, all the history about Tarzan. So I don't know if that covered a little bit about in a short time, but that he was an iconic runner, and he was a wonderful stonemason too. I don't know if people know that. He was a famous stone. That's why when the grandson did the monument in native fieldstone, he took after his grandfather.
So masonry, and I pun not intended, runs in the family.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh my God.
It was
Beautiful.
Genuinely not intended.
That's a highlight of the breakfast.
There you go.
Hey, I mean, so it's Tarzan Brown Memorial Fund.org. I put the link on the screen, in the comments, everywhere you're watching. It's super easy to go on and donate. I just did myself. I just went in and donated.
Look at that.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're right. That statement you made about if every person in Westerly donated $1, we'd be over the top.
Yeah.
Just $1. And one of the people, it took a heck of a lot longer to get the Johnny Kelly Younger statue in Mystic.
Oh yeah.
And they were talking about years to get it through. We've done this in a few months.
Six
We've
months.
got to this point.
So I'm saying, don't be discouraged.
No, I'm not discouraged.
You do have
and
some
so,
good.
it's going to happen. And there was also a thought, which is a good thought, by another group of Narragansetts, of putting a statue of Tarzan at Heartbreak Hill. Why? Because Heartbreak Hill is the famous place where Johnny Kelly the Elder was tracking down Tarzan in the Boston Marathon. He tapped him on his bottom, and Tarzan took off and left him in the dust. So that's Heartbreak. So that group would like to put a statue of Tarzan next to a statue of Johnny Kelly the Elder. It's been going on for a long time, and they're talking about $150,000 for the statue, and then they got to get approval from Newton, and they got to get approval from the BAA, and the statue. Unfortunately, the statue of Johnny Kelly Elder is not being cared for. It's starting to lean, and the grass isn't cut. So it could be a pie in the sky. I wish them well. I hope they can get that done because it has a meaning. If they put Johnny Kelly there, they should have put Tarzan there too. And the BAA is not always that cooperative in going forward with this.
Have you made presentations to like the Rotary clubs?
That's
and
coming
the
next month.
Lions Club.
The Lions Club is coming next month.
Those are really great organizations. I would think that they might.
Frank. I was with Frank Selico yesterday.
Oh, good man.
He's a wonderful guy.
I know.
And he's got us into the Rotary Club this coming month.
I just went to their fundraiser at the Chorus of Westerly about 3 weeks ago, and it was their most successful fundraiser ever. Their auction. So they got a couple extra dollars in the piggy bank. My
question is, we've been told a way to get this done is to have a fundraiser.
Mm-hmm.
But we're a ragtag group of dedicated guys that want to get this thing done. But how do you go about getting a fundraiser? An open house, I thought about the
Why
Grace
don't you
Sale.
just
They're
do
wonderful.
a run? Do a run
They have a run.
in Mystic, the
Mystic,
Tarzan Brown
yeah.
Mystic River
Yeah.
Run. I used to work at back then it was the Mystic Community Center.
I remember that.
I know, but that's their thing.
Yeah.
You could do a 1-day run this year in
You
Westerly.
have a community walk, a 1 mile walk.
But you need like anything. You
But
need
you
a
gotta
committee of
organize.
passionate
Yeah.
volunteers.
Yeah.
You need people that are willing to step up to the plate. It's the same way the Columbus Day Parade happens each year. It's like 4 people.
Yep.
The Frenets, Mr. Potter, there's a few others.
Joe Potter's helping us too.
Of course he is.
He's a great guy.
It's
He's got a lot of connections. And
what do they say? 20% of the people do 80% of the work or
Right,
something like that.
right.
That's the way it's.
you know what's ironic is that we have the Mashantuckets and the Mohegans right down the road. Haven't got a penny out of any of them, either one of them. We've tried to get in touch with Butler. It not responsive to it. We try and they could definitely. I mean, it's so important for the indigenous people.
Maybe your request hasn't gotten in front of the right people yet.
Yeah, maybe we haven't got there because they should be able to easily put us over the top. They may even want us to put us in the museum there. That would be a kind of a conflict. We don't want to go over there, but we're not for sale either, right? But
No.
I should think that Mr. Butler that you mentioned to me would just think about this and say, we could help put this thing over the top. But I like your idea of a community event.
Just once, one
have us-
time. Even if you get 10 grand out of it,
Yeah.
one thing.
Yeah.
But you got the people knowing then, like you said, tell us a little bit about let's build who is Tarzan Brown?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was he? What kind of an aura did he create? What did he do? So that's a thought. I just don't know how 5 guys, that's what we are, 5 of us, can put this thing on. I put road races on. I've known that it's not an easy job.
Yeah, no,
It's
there's a lot of
very,
components
very
to it.
difficult getting the police and getting insurance
The
and getting all-
timing and the whole.
But one event, even an informal walk through Westerly, would put it over the top.
You think you're going to make 20 grand on a walk? Probably not.
No,
But
but $1.
a dollar.
All the walk is a donated $1.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we definitely like one thing not to get discouraged on, because I think what you've done in the last 6 months is tremendous, is that the goal is $60,000 right now, right? I know it's a moving target, things change about stuff, but you've come 2/3 of the way there in a couple months, in a few months.
And you don't have a deadline
No.
of, oh my gosh, if we don't raise it by X date,
Well,
this isn't going to happen.
If the statue's ready and they want to get paid for the balance, we
Yeah.
got to pay them.
Yeah.
They'll hold them
Um,
hostage.
That's true.
So
That's
there's
true.
probably the end of the year is when we have to. Serena is wonderful. I'm not worried about Serena's 9,000. I'm more worried about paying the foundry off and getting the statue, and then getting the site ready.
Yep.
And then by that time, we hope we know where we want to finally
You will.
put them.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I think the traction that this has already gained is immense, and will continue to keep going.
I think there can be some sort of celebration when it's
Oh
obviously
yeah, that'd
Oh,
be
yeah.
wonderful.
installed.
That'd be
Make
wonderful.
a day
Yeah, and everybody
with different
gather.
activities,
Right.
Not just a simple 10-minute ceremony. I think we can build on that and do something that's more significant in
And
the
if we
community.
could get that same group, and I have it all videoed of his family coming down here for
Mhm.
that,
yeah,
which
that'd
they
be beautiful.
would be overwhelming. I mean, it was most rewarding thing I have ever experienced of a culture that I knew so little about, making that present. The trouble is, it's on here. I don't know how to get it out of here to be able to show. There's a video of this whole thing. One of the medicine men from Boston and the family came down and did his dancing and everything.
It's on your it's on your
my
phone.
phone.
No,
Yeah,
we
in what
can
way?
figure it out.
I videoed
Is it in your? Oh, you did.
I did.
You did. You
Yes.
videoed it.
I'm sure it's fantastic.
Yeah,
Okay,
but how do
you
you,
got-
how do you,
You got 3 minutes after the show.
Yeah, right.
you show me? Oh my God.
Ben,
Oh,
Ben
yes.
will be able to deal with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
No
because
problem.
there's like 16,000 pictures on here.
hmm
And there's a whole segment of just what I said with all the people. Lacey was there, and
While we're gonna transition in a second to talk about the chamber
Yeah,
stuff.
it's okay.
While Lisa's doing that, I want you to find the video on your phone. Is it one video?
yes.
Okay, I want you to find the video on your phone and then just pass it down to me.
How do I find it?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
We'll do
Okay,
this
okay.
afterwards.
Well,
This
well,
is going to
alright.
be a little more.
Um,
How about you? You must know someone in LA that this would speak to. I guess some
ESPN.
big money out there, right?
Lots of money out
I
there.
know. Does ESPN donate to?
I would have to check my my sources with my former employer.
You think Bristol, being right around the
Yeah,
corner.
Bristol,
with-
Connecticut has
with,
an
with
ESPN.
WERI having some of the announcers that turn
Seriously.
into famous people. With,
There you
with
go.
speaking of Chris Berman will be on
See, that's
will be
one-
on the show on Saturday morning.
Wow. Look at that.
So
It
There you
doesn't have
go.
to be a lot. It
Can
could be-
we kidnap them or do
It-
something
oh
with
my
them?
God.
You've used the word kidnap a lot. We're a little
just wanna
sensitive
say-
to that phrase.
Okay.
I
these
just
days.
want to
Let's
say
not do that.
The thoughts and opinions expressed in this program do not
Are
necessarily
Larry's.
are of the participants
Only.
alone and do not necessarily reflect the thoughts and opinions of the Ocean Community Chamber of Commerce or 321 Media or Decency.
I got a
Yeah.
little
So
stick over here. I'm gonna
so
jab it.
yeah. I mean, those people, Westerly people, they know Westerly. Monte Calvo. If you took a list of all the people that were on WERI, basically when it started and when it went through the time with the Ursos and everything, there's a resource right there that could be very helpful.
Have you reached out to? I mean, for more publicity, have you reached out to Mike Montecalvo or Sam Reed, who, Sam Reed lives
right
just
here?
down the
Yeah.
road and does stories about Westerly all the time.
Okay, well, Channel 10 did a segment on us.
Okay,
The Providence Journal, Mark Tinkin did a story on us. Westerly, the Westerly Sun did a story on us. The Boston Globe did a story on us. So the publicity has been
Not
there,
lacking. Yeah.
but no one has raised the idea of the ESPN and the roots they have, and what a story that would be for ESPN. And that I'm sure John's gonna work this through. John Chin is going to come out of retirement and motivate Berman
it.
and all the rest of the crew.
I see it.
If Chris Berman's going to be
He's got the
stopping by the
juice.
shop, I may have to sit in on him and kind of, have a little chit chat have a little sidebar with Chris.
There
For
you
sure.
He's part of it. They were together.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. And what's the other fellow that lives in Weekaporg? That ESPN guy.
Colin Cowherd, he was employed with ESPN, but then, probably a few years ago, he jumped over to the Fox network sports division there. So he's now a Fox guy, but I do believe he does have a residence in Watch Hill. But
there's another one.
not,
Oh my God!
I don't know.
Not
It'll
Chris.
come to-
Not Chris. No, he lives right down in Weekaporg. He was a famous guy with ESPN.
If you have the address, we'll just go. I'm kidding. Do not dox anyone on this show.
See,
Thank
I
you.
don't want to take any claim. Don't hold me liable for anything that Ben says. Because
Yeah, right.
I'm not.
we're not talking about that mansion up on the hill there with it's all gated with the 24/7 security. Not that person.
No,
No,
not
that
that
person.
person.
That
No.
person. I got it.
No.
So yeah, that and again, the chamber. Lisa is the chamber, and Lisa has done so much for everybody in this town.
We've tried to push this. We've tried to make the
But I mean,
connections for
everything
you.
that
And
you've done, you are the chamber, and the chamber functions so very well because of Lisa Kanicki.
oh, please.
And I say, if anybody wants to get anything done, we don't want to go into politics, But anything you want to accomplish, Lisa, we don't want to wear her out, but she's done a wonderful job with the Citizen of the Year awards over the years. I remember with Paul Lynch, and I
So
remember Tom Black falling asleep at the podium.
that was the year we decided we
Never
were never again going to allow people to come up and toast, or in this case, roast
Yep.
the Citizen of the Year. It got out of control.
That was the year before when I was down in the Watch Hill Inn.
Now we pay Chris Walsh
It's the
to
best
make
way
a
to do it.
beautiful
It's
video,
and you
which
don't
is a
shut up
lasting
and
tribute.
shut up. Yeah.
And everybody looks good, and he edits everyone to make them sound perfect and articulate. And there's nobody that's, goes on too long after they've had a glass of wine or whatever.
Oh my God! Remember
Yeah,
that?
you guys
Oh, my-
really derailed my show that year. I was like, that's
Do
it.
you remember Paul Lynch? There was a character. There's Damon Runyon himself
Yes,
with his
yes.
cigar and his big
Yeah.
Chrysler, and
He
he
was-
took over the town. One of the rare people that was able to come to Westerly and take the town over. Right? I
Yeah.
mean, he really did so much for the town, so much for the Y, so much for the chamber and
he did.
everything. It sadly, his health got the best of him.
Yeah,
And he didn't want
None of us are getting out of here, but when you talk to your family about your plans of the next phase, you can say, in lieu of flowers, please have donations made to whatever, the library, the hospital, the stand up for animals,
We tried that.
maintenance of the memorial
You're
fund.
right. That we always want to get to the accountants and the attorneys. So when a client comes in, instead of, you see it all the time, like Stand Up for Animals, my pet, and people leave that, make your donations to Stand Up for Animals. Those very people could be, when they're making their last will and testament, their trusts and everything, they could very easily put it in there and make a significant impact on the future of, like, we're
Sure.
jumping around. But, Stand Up for Animals has the only low-cost clinic for pets in the state of Rhode Island.
Mhm.
And that is it just had the ribbon cutting,
Mhm.
but they're backed up for like a month to get people
in,
to come in, but anybody can come in, and it's like a third, maybe even a quarter of the cost of having to go to a regular vet, and people can't afford it.
Yep.
They go I was over to the Pawcatuck Neighborhood Center when a presentation was made. Every week they do a great job. They have grinders and coffee, and they have a speaker, and they had us speak there. And why? Because we take food
Mhm.
and give it to them, so people that don't want to give up their pets can have food for their pets to keep them with
Yeah.
them. So there's a lot of things that are so important that
Yeah.
And all these groups are intertwined in different
they're all
ways. And
intertwined.
we're just here to amplify their message and
That's
to try
right.
to help them find new audiences and to get volunteers inspired to dedicate some time to these various causes. So thanks.
You must have trouble though that way. I mean, today I notice nobody wants to step up in organizations to be the president or vice president.
We don't have that
You
problem.
can't volunteer. You don't have.
No.
See,
don't
Lisa's
have
doing
that
something very well, because every group I belong to, it's like retreads. They're wonderful people, but nobody wants to step up to the plate, and you can't find members.
Yeah, no.
It's so hard.
Our bylaws require, after a certain period of time, that a board member has to be cycled off. Whether they could be fantastic, they still got to go. Perfect example: Jen Brenton, Beth Frenette. These are awesome board members, and this is their year that they have to go for a minimum of a year.
And they could come back.
I told Beth, I'll say
Don't
the
go-
same thing to
the
Jen.
leash is
Don't you
short.
dare get involved in anybody else. That we're putting the clock down. 365 every day is counting down. But I know that she has committed to go on another board, and that may prevent her from coming back to the chamber at some point. But
I'll just hold her seat warm for
you
her.
get new blood coming in, which is exciting. New ideas, fresh energy. But we always have people that want to come back, and I love that.
That
Because they
shows
know
you
what
good
the
ship.
expectations are. And I hate to say it, but we're really demanding at the chamber of our board members, I think. Not in the standpoint of money. Like I won't say who. There's an organization in town. One of their rules is you have to give it or get it, $10,000 a year to be on their board. We don't do that.
Wow. No, we don't need
We
that.
don't do that. We want you to show up at a ribbon cutting and show your support for small businesses when they open. We want you to volunteer for 3 hours at the art festival and help artists unload their car and make life easier for them, because we need the manpower to support that event.
Yep.
We want you to help us set up tents on a Sunday morning for Sunday Fun Day. We want you to do some strategic planning with us about how can we make this business community the strongest, best, most viable community so that everybody succeeds. So we have different, criteria, and it's not about money. Now, granted, if we have an event like Fusion, we say, here's 4 tickets. Can you try to sell them?
Yeah.
And we want people to sell them.
Sure.
But there's no, consequence. You don't get thrown off the board or whatever if you're not able to sell them. It all works out. We have enough people passionate about what we do. Some are strong in fundraising, some are strong in programming, some are strong in hands-on volunteerism. If you build your board that you have a little bit of all those, you get your bases covered. And
How many people on your board?
24.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. I know some chambers have 30 something, which is too much. We used to have 15 or 16, I think it was, when I first started, but we were a smaller organization. We only had 350 members at the time. Now we're 870, something like that.
Wow.
So when you have a larger membership and you're more regional in nature, you want to make sure you have someone on your board from Charlestown, somebody from Richmond, somebody from Mystic, somebody from Pawcatuck. So it's not just Westerly.
Yeah.
We're not the Westerly Chamber of Commerce, and we never have been, just because our office is here, and we certainly have a beautiful welcome center that we run on behalf of the town, and we do most of our activities here. The town of North Stonington just joined us as a member. The town is paying us dues
Wow.
because they're saying, we need your help. We want some of what you guys are doing over here. Can you guide us? Can you help us? Can you brainstorm with us? What can we do together?
Lisa, you'll think about all this in the picture, the physical structure. Turn your head and look here. This downtown is so vibrant. It has maintained the integrity physically.
Yes.
On the river, with a library, a park, the Washington Trust Building, all the buildings in town. And although the makeup has changed significantly from my time when it was all retail, now it's an entertainment hub. It's China Village multiplied. I mean, growing up, China Village was the magnet.
The destination.
That's the place people came from New London, from Norwich to come to downtown Westerly to go to China Village. It was marvelous what five cousins did to bring that into town. And I was mentioning to John, and I don't think anybody knows this. Maybe I'm the only one that remembers. There was a Chinese restaurant before China Village.
In the same location?
Right behind the Washington Trust on Main Street.
Wow.
It was called Charlie Lem's.
Wow.
And
You're
Charlie
going way
Lem
back.
was there, and then he moved across the street from China Village, right by where the Savoy was, that area where Bannon's drug. Nobody knows Bannon's drug, but where the hen, the brazen hen
Brazen
is.
Hen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had a Chinese restaurant there, and then almost at the same time frame, he went out of business, and China Village opened across the street, right?
Yes, sir.
They saw an opportunity. Their
Exactly.
timing was right.
And the park, you said there was a parking lot there?
Again, that building was a standalone building, and there was a parking lot right next to it where they have the new addition there. But I do believe Mr. Toscano, of Toscano's fame, owned that property. And then over the course of time, China Village expanded their operations and purchased that parking lot. And thus you see that whole building looping around towards the old Terminal
Yes.
Lunch building.
Lunch.
The old- there's a
Yeah.
name from the past,
I've heard
Terminal
it.
Lunch
I've
with,
heard
You know that
with-
story
with-
too?
with Nick and Dolores, the best.
No, I do not. No, I do not.
Famous.
Can you imagine
Listen,
the
I remember
famous-
when it was.
what was there? What was there then? Right across from the railroad station on that corner, which then is now a restaurant.
Yeah.
It was the Terminal Lunch, Nick Farraco, right?
Nick Farrago and his wife Dolores.
Dolores.
Tremendous.
Is this where the
tremendous
junction is
duel.
now?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
junction.
Mm-hmm.
That was the most famous, that and around the corner, we're going back into history now, was where Vera Marone had La Casa Grill.
Huh.
and that was a restaurant right now where Longo's was.
All right.
We'll save that for another time because that we went through that with with Ken was here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And with you and Ken,
You
it's
mentioned the
always-
junction. I have to give them a plug.
Go
What
ahead.
they've done there is awesome. It is if you haven't been there,
I haven't been there.
oh my God, the food is
Really?
incredible. Sandwiches are great. And they serve till like 1 a.m. food.
Oh wow.
You can like,
I didn't know that.
yes.
So it's not just breakfast and lunch.
I don't know about breakfast.
It's lunch.
Sandwiches. My daughter had a pasta dish there.
Okay.
Their meatball sandwiches are to die for.
Really?
Small though,
The-
isn't it?
The place is small. The portions are big. It's great.
Yeah,
They have
it's
a
a-
dartboard. It's so popular.
It's a triangular configuration,
pie shape.
but
Yeah.
it's like a pie shape. But I'm gonna have to definitely step on in there and
It's
and,
great.
We'll
check
hit
out.
it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can
Um,
take
yeah.
these two to lunch. How's
There you
that?
go. Awesome.
Listen, you're gonna love it.
It's 9
You're
a.m.
gonna love it.
Um,
It's family owned. They're all in there working. The mom, the dad, the kid. And
Who are the people?
they're just such
Who are they?
wonderful. Maddie is the father's name. I'm gonna be bad and see if I can
Local?
remember.
Are they local?
Yes, they're all from Westerly. I'm trying to think what the mother's name is. She's the
Not
sweetest.
local. Local.
No,
Oh my
they're
God.
not
Oh
loco.
my God.
No, they
Larry.
are not loco.
Larry.
They
Larry.
are local.
We-
They grew up in this town. And Isaiah's the son.
Wow.
Okay. Matt, which they call him Matty, is his father. I just can't remember Matt's wife's name. I
What's
thought I had
called,
it in my
though? What's the name
phone
of it?
and
The
I don't
Junction.
have
The
it. Darn it.
Junction.
The
but,
That's a
Junction.
good name for it, right? At the
No, it's
junction.
great. It's great.
Yeah.
So it's a bar. They have dart leagues, but the food is great.
How's
And
the,
they serve
how's
late.
the bookstore doing?
I hope well.
Yeah.
I think well.
I haven't-
Martin House Books.
I mean,
Yes,
most
yes.
businesses don't put a sign out saying I had a
Doing
good
well.
day,
No, but I'm just
or-
wondering how
or,
if
or
they're
yesterday
getting,
sucked.
you
You
know,
know, we
with-
don't hear that.
with the
They-
internet and everything like that. Is buying books is not, it's a
It's-
difficult
it's a-
business.
Without a doubt, but it's the same for everything. All
Yeah.
these people who go on, I can't even say the word,
Don't say it,
Amazon or whatever to buy instead of going down to
To
Woody's or
Support the people
Christina's
that
or whatever.
support the town.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely.
yes. So they're all fighting the same challenges,
yeah.
and it's not going to get better. It's gotten worse over time. And I think during COVID, because people were afraid to go out, or some businesses were closed, people really who hadn't shopped as much online got in the habit of shopping
It's a
online.
shame. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, you're right.
So it's hard to break that habit for some people,
Downtown was the mercantile sector of this whole westerly area, and then back in those days, the threat came from Walmart's.
Oh yeah.
That was
They
the thing that
picketed.
was going to
People were
put-
furious about Walmart.
And then it was the shopping centers, which became a socializing thing as well as a mercantile thing. But you see what's happened to the shopping centers now.
Oh, Crystal Mall.
Is that
They're putting
Yeah.
a workforce thing for electric boat
that's
in
right?
there.
They put a word,
Wow.
and,
Oh,
and
that's-
at the, what used to be Macy's.
Macy's.
Yeah,
It's going
that's
to be
empty.
an EB
It's
training
empty.
type
It's empty.
thing, which they were saying there's only 2 restaurants left in their food court. Maybe this will breathe some new life into them, but it's scary to go over there. It's
What
sad.
changes? What changes with the times?
Yeah.
Yep. But we're still a strong community made up primarily of independent businesses. Look downtown. There's not a chain anywhere.
No.
Let's keep it that way.
Yeah.
I do not
Bravo.
want a chain down here anywhere. I love every downtown. Every downtown has its unique qualities, but more and more you go to downtowns and you see a clothing store or whatever that is in every other town. We don't want that. I think the average age of the business owner in our downtown has gone way down. It's a lot of young people
Mhm.
compared to
Which is good.
back in the day.
Which is good.
They have families and they're making it work.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard to do that. It's hard to raise your children, and then also own your own business. But it's a supportive group down here. And I know the kids love Sunday Fun Day because we close the street and it's like their playground.
Yeah.
So like Wildflower Kids, she's got 2 kids. They are on their big wheels and they're
So you brought that all in, the promotion things, the
well,
PT
to kind
Bonham
of bring
the-
people back.
brings people downtown. They got the art
Lisa
show.
Kanicki is the P.T. Barnum of Westerly.
Oh,
Yes, yeah.
Jesus. I don't.
P.T.
I like it.
Mrs. P.T. Barnum.
Mrs. P.T.
Uh-huh.
Barnum.
Well, here's the deal. Sunday Fun Day, Tarzan Brown Day. Let's make it happen. That's the true
All right,
Westerly
you got
way.
till October.
Oh,
Couldn't
Wow.
that sort of fit into?
Well, let's,
Okay.
we'll talk about that
All right.
on the way to Boston.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. We're going to go to Boston.
I know where we're
gonna see-
eating. We're eating at Scampo.
Oh, my God.
We're going to make a day of this.
My father, when he came to this country, ended up with his jewelry store
Yeah.
on Hanover Street in the North End.
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's what, and when the Depression came, long story short, go to Westerly or go to Dallas, Texas. My father said, where are they? He came to Westerly. But interesting, Dr. Brownhill, who was a neurologist.
Oh, yeah,
who-
of course.
He grew up more Italian than anybody I ever knew. Beautiful guy. He grew up on Hanover Street, right above my father's store.
oh wow.
So he says to me,
Uh-huh.
Sam the Jew. He says to my
Well-
and he said, he was right below us. We loved your father. And he took me to the North End and took me to where my father's place and where his family
There you
was.
go.
I'm just,
Oh, wow.
it's a,
This has been a colorful show.
It
Very,
has.
very.
It has been a colorful
Larry's
show.
never coming back, but we love you, Larry, and good luck with raising money for Tarzan Brown.
raise
Um,
money to get me out of town, you mean? Huh?
Yeah, I don't
No,
think so,
no,
but
no. Nobody could get you out of town. You literally have a street named after you, sir. Well, thank you.
Thank
for
you.
being
thanks for being here.
Lisa, what's
Thank-
going on with the
And,
chamber?
and you were a bonus. Thanks for coming
Yeah,
along this
Johnny.
morning.
Thank you so much.
You were at the end of the hour, so I'm just going to mention just the one thing. Obviously, it's our 100th anniversary. We're still continuing with all kinds of unique things as part of it to celebrate that. And August 3rd is our party of the century, as we're calling it, which will be in Watch Hill under a huge tent on the green. You'll be able to see the gorgeous sunset. We have a great band that's playing.
Wow.
The menu for this event is insane. The amount of food that we have and the caliber of food, crazy. And we're going to have some strolling entertainment, and it's going to be full of fun, and there'll be a couple surprises. And that night, in a very brief but poignant ceremony, we're going to recognize both Mike Benavides and Ed Marone with the Lifetime Achievement Award
Wow.
Aw.
in terms of their commitment to our organization. Ed has volunteered in one capacity or another more than 50 years for the
How's he
chamber.
doing?
50 years.
Yeah,
He's doing
he's-
great. He's
yeah.
doing great. And then Mike Benavides, over 30 years of constant.
Is
behind-
this open to the public?
Yes, of course. Anyone can come and celebrate with us.
Wow.
Dance, have a great time. All right. So
Yeah.
tickets are available at oceanchamber.org. We would love to see you all there, and it will be a great time. And I know the ladies are saying, what do I wear? Is it formal? The attire theme is golden hour glam. So whatever you think that means to you, we don't want guys to feel obligated to wear a suit. It's hot in August. Okay.
golden
Do
hour
not-
plan.
There you
do-
go.
There you go. If that's your golden hour
Beautiful.
glam, it's great. I think we're going to have a wide variety. It's just a party. Let's just have a great time and celebrate
Wonderful.
100
Perfect.
years.
That's
do it.
wonderful.
That's awesome. Ocean, I'm not saying that's wonderful like I didn't know about it for months. Oceanchamber.org for all of those informations. I want to say thank you to all of our chamber champions scrolling down at the bottom of the screen throughout the whole show. And I also want to say thank you to our two advertisers on the 321 side for this show, which is two board members, actually. Lathrop Insurance, Dan Lathrop, and Wireless Zone at 224 Post Road in Dunn's Corners. Is he going to be there today for the first time? Or
His first meeting will be in July.
In
Today
July,
is the
okay.
last meeting for those people that are going off our board.
Aw.
Yeah. And
aw.
the new term, and Dan becomes chairman of the board effective July 1.
Okay. Well, love to see it.
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys so much for
Thank
being
you
here.
for having
Thank
us.
you.
Go to
Thank you.
Tarzan Brown Memorial Fund.org to donate. If $1 is donated from everybody in Westerly, they will be well over the top. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.
What's going on, everybody? It's Patrick down here at the Wireless Zone at Dunn's Corners at 224 Post Road, and everybody down here is getting the brand new iPhone 16. We have it here in stock. The best part is, right now, if you trade in your old phone, you get it for free. We got deals all weekend, awesome savings. Come on down and see us, 224 Post Road, Duns Corners, Verizon Wireless Zone. We'll see you soon.
Hi, this is Dan from Lathrop Insurance. In this challenging insurance environment, Lathrop Insurance can be your beacon in the storm to help you find the coverage you need at the right price. Now, more than ever, you need a partner in the insurance industry that can work with multiple carriers to make sure you have the right coverage at the right price. Lathrop Insurance carries home, auto, and business insurance and can be reached at 401-596-2525. We've been supporting the local community since 1939, and we look forward to working with you.